Alright, so for the second week in a row, we have a brand new exotic to play around with, and instead of it being Lumina, it is going to be the original D1 exotic, Bad Juju. And so again, like last time, we're going to be looking at it from a PvP perspective and not from a PvE perspective. Unlike the D1 version, this one's actually sort of meant for PvP and PvE. They're actually pretty good in both respects. However, in D1, it was actually just PvE, or just mostly PvE. The Bad Juju has some pretty good stats, as you can see. It is a 450 RPM pulse rifle, making it just able to 3-burst. It has good stability and handling and great range for its archetype. Now this does mean that it is actually in the same archetype as Outbreak Perfected. However, in my opinion, when using Outbreak Perfected, it feels vastly different to the Bad Juju. While the Outbreak Perfected feels like a much slower gun with its really good range and stability, the Bad Juju is actually much quicker and much more snappy. The Bad Juju sports a full auto firing mechanism, making it much quicker to shoot against Outbreak Perfected, or at least it feels like that. Obviously, it's not going to be shooting any faster, but because of the full auto, it just makes it feel just a lot quicker and a lot easier to use in close range. Over on console, the aim assist felt very good. I was using controller on PC when filming this, so it might be a little bit inflated, but even though it only has around 40 aim assist, it feels as if it had much more due to good stability and good range. Overall, at face value, this is a very good pulse rifle, and if I had to rank it, I might put it in the top 5 of the pulses I use in PvP. Like I said earlier, it feels very quick and agile when compared to a lot of other 450 pulses and just pulse rifles in general, the full auto being the biggest reason for this. Getting to the more specific aspects of the gun, it can do 25 to the head and 16 to the body, meaning that again it can 3-burst but only just. Also, because it only does 16 to the body, it will be necessary to go for the headshots as much as possible. It will need 5 bursts if you're just aiming for the body, making it very unforgiving if you miss or if you just don't hit crits. Its actual intrinsic perk is called String of Curses, and it allows you to reload every single time you get a kill. This reload is immediate and actually doesn't load it from your reserves, it just makes it out of thin air, like the original Whisper. This isn't actually much of a change from what it was in D1, however the second part of the perk is brand new. Now each kill acts as a sort of rampage perk, each kill giving you another String of Curses times whatever. If you get 1 kill, it's just String of Curses, if you get 2, it's times 2, and 3, it's times 3, until so on, until you can only actually reach to 5. Obviously, you won't be able to get to 5 kills in a match, at least very often, so if you actually do get 1 kill, you're going to be able to do 28 damage, at 2, you'll do 30, and at 3, you'll do 33, and I think at that point, that was the most I ever got. However, if you do manage to get to 4, you'll be doing 35, and at 5, you'll be doing a massive 38 damage to the head. A bit of a side note, if you're using it in PvE, it actually made it up to 100% damage buff. That means you're going to be doing double the damage of whatever you were doing in that particular activity. It was actually pretty good in Gambit when I was using it. Another thing for PvE and PvP players is that when using it, depending on the String of Curses level you have, you'll be getting a boost in your super energy. Now, while I wasn't actually trying to get a bunch of super kills in the footage, I obviously was using them sometimes, and actually sitting on 3 or 4 every single game. I was sort of just using it on one person to try to get some clips for Bad Juju, but it kind of amazed me on how many times I was able to do so. If you couple this with a super mod like I do on my first character, I was actually using my second character when using this, I might be looking upwards of 5 supers every single game. Now, something I mentioned in the Lumina video, and really anything that I use like in pinnacle weapons or exotic weapons, I think that the actual gun, in and of itself, without the exotic perk that needs to be activated, needs to be good for me to actually call the weapon good. That may sound a little bit complex, but it just really means that if I'm not using the perk, if I'm not having it activated, the gun with its normal stats, with its basic damage, needs to be good for me to call the whole weapon really good. If this isn't happening, we could have something like Radrix's Broadsword, where the gun isn't all that good, while the perk is absolutely great. This can ultimately result in the gun feeling somewhat underwhelming. I'm really happy to say that the Bad Juju is actually the opposite of that. Its actual gun feels fantastic, while the String of Curses perk feels like much of like an add-on. You definitely will not need the String of Curses perk for it to be successful, it just again feels like something of a bonus. Its final perk is its reload thing that actually I haven't really talked about very much, because it's isn't very useful in PvP, as you generally will always have a lot of ammo. Now, like I said earlier, it'll actually reload from somewhere. It just reloads from thin air, so it actually won't take it from your reserves. Again, while this is the same as Whisper of the Worm once was, I don't see it getting nerfed anytime soon. At one point that I actually did find it pretty useful was on 10 streak. Now, the actual perk isn't just reloading super quick, it's that I never really ran out of ammo. I have essentially infinite ammo, especially with every kill. Now, the thing with that is that in really high streaks, you maybe find yourself running out of primary ammo. Anytime I get a wee run out of medals, it can be a really big problem, especially if I'm low on ammo and I'm trying to go for a 50 streak. The only thing I don't actually have much information on is how it would perform in really high level comp or really high level scrims. I don't think it'll ever get banned in scrims, and I'm yet to actually take it in, but I can assume that this might be one of the higher level pulse rifles due to its really high handling and really just snappiness. It is one of the faster moving pulse rifles, and it's much faster than any 390 fire rate one, but ultimately I'm not really sure until I actually take it in. So in conclusion, at face value, Bad Juju is fantastic. It's great stats and great range and stability, coupled into a really good aim assist on console, make it a very solid weapon to use. While again, I'm not really sure about its high level comp gameplay, I am sure that it will actually be used by most of the community in a lot of PvP matches. It being able to be very useful in close range as well as long range encounters, it can be very useful in nearly all situations. I've wanted to implement a sort of rating system for PvP weapons, and for this one I'm going to have to do an 8 out of 10. Those only two lost points really being that while it is a 3-shot, it's a very close 3-shot. You can only miss one of the bursts, that making it a little bit difficult to do. The second reason being that while it may be a really good perk, you'll never actually be able to use it to its full potential, or it will be very rare. In conclusion, I may be using this in comp, and I will definitely be using this in quick play. So that's it guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.